What's going on, everybody? I'm Keith, host of Just Our Thoughts with the Fellas, where 4 to 5 of my brothers give their perspective on national as well as local news. We touch on some trending hot topics as well as culturally relevant news. We also get a chance to dive into some deep core conversations. Check us out live every other Monday at 7 p.m. You can find us on Just Our Thoughts on YouTube live, as well as Just Our Thoughts fan page on Facebook. Also, please don't forget to follow us on IG, JOT with the Fellas. What's good, fellas? What's good? What's good? What's good?
Yo,
what's
going
Monday, on, man?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, man. We got so much going on, man, these last several weeks. We just gonna jump right into it. We can start off with Sha'Carri Richardson, 21-year-old who is claimed to be one of the fastest in the world, was tested positive last week for marijuana, and she will miss her race coming up in the Olympics, and I think she'll be able to do the relay. But so much has come out after that, in terms of, her decision making and, the backlash that she's gotten from her decision making. So today, man, we just got a lot of things that we want to touch on. We also want to bring in Demir, KD's Professor Kevy Kev's son, later on. So if you can share, like, subscribe, and bring people on a little bit later in the show when we talk about Generation Z, their thoughts, their ideas, so we're going to have a Generation Z, represent and bring it to us, and talk to us about their, their perception, their views on different things. So welcome. We getting into this thing. Sha'Carri Richardson, fellas. Sha'Carri Richardson.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sha'Carri, man. What's
Talk
your
about
thoughts,
it,
man? You know what? Last week, man, I wasn't as upset at her decision making. I was more so focused on the backlash, the visceral backlash that she got from our people, in terms of her decision making and the forgetfulness of when they were 21 and the possible mistakes that could have happened at 21. Granted, this is a huge major opportunity, for her. But at times, man, I just believe that, you get a second chance,
Yes,
and
definitely, especially in our position.
Yeah. So, for me, it was just, it was just disappointing to see I'm okay with the talking about her judgment, but the attack on our daughter was, it bothered me. I had some conversations about it, and we talk about love, man, all the time. We certainly talk about love, and that was certainly, a great way to exemplify what love looks like, a great way to show our young people, that you can make mistakes. We're going to get on you, show you some tough love, but we got your back.
Right.
So those, yeah.
The biggest part about that bothered me was the fact that, it was a reporter that told her that her biological mother had passed away. So, with her trying to deal with it, she felt like she had to go smoke.
Right.
Am I mad at her? No, not one bit. I mean, because here's the thing: a lot of us do put these wrong. We do some wrong things to our own people to make them react in certain ways. Just like I've seen a lot of people that will post deaths or major events about somebody else, not even in their family, not even let the family take care of that.
Right.
We everybody feel like they're a journalist. They got to jump in and tell the business to the whole world. No, something like that. It should be personal. Should be handled within the family. And Absolutely. All right. And that she went and did what she did. Right. And she smoked in a state where it's legal.
Oregon. That's so true.
Yeah.
I'm done.
No, and the thing for me is, look, if she can't run, a rule is a rule. I totally get that. A rule is a rule. And the thing about it was she didn't complain. She stepped out in front of it, apologized on Good Morning America and kept it moving. She didn't complain about not being able to run. So the visceral attack against her it should not have been warranted for me, but I do get a rule is a rule.
Right.
I
Right.
totally get that. With that being said, my thoughts on and what's your thoughts on boycotting the Olympics and representing a country that doesn't love you? I've heard many conversations about, just simply boycotting the Olympics so she can run. I heard just boycotting the Olympics, in general because
Altogether.
of altogether because this country doesn't love black people,
No.
and this is certainly a way to, galvanize all of us together so we can
Yeah.
show what black people mean to this country.
Right.
What's your
On the
Yeah,
thoughts,
flip
man?
side,
because
on the
just
flip side of that,
recently,
man, let me touch on that.
yeah,
On the flip side of that, like you said, Keith, rule is a rule. The good part about it is that she's only suspended for 30 days, which
right.
will allow her to still run
Right.
in the games, that 4x4 that's going to take place towards the end of the games.
Right.
So that 30 days, although it will prohibit her from running in that particular race that she was suspended from, she's still going to have an opportunity to run.
Right.
So I'm looking at it like, okay, she still has that opportunity. So I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
But as far as boycotting,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like just recently, the chick, she turned her back on a flag when they played the national anthem, and she got a lot of backlash from that.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, what's wrong?
Yeah.
In my opinion, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
couple things just to add in. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you good, bro.
Oh, okay. No, just with Sha'Carri and the boycotting, I'm torn about it because we got so many other fascinating black athletes that have worked almost their entire lives to get to this platform and to build. I'm not the one to call for the boycott. That's something that the athletes who have really put in the work and the time and the effort to be on this stage in Tokyo, do they want to stand in solidarity for Sha'Carri? You know what I'm saying? That's their decision, because I'm not the one that has put in the relentless hundreds and thousands of hours to get to that stage. I'll support what their decision is, but I also want to see our people shine the brightest.
Right.
If Sha'Carri's involved
Absolutely.
or not. I'm hurt to the fact that she won't compete in the 100 meters, because that is her primary event where she shines and broke Gail Devers' long-standing record as well. So it's bad that marijuana is really a stigma, especially when it comes to the black community. Michael Phelps, I think in 1996, he got into a similar situation concerning marijuana. He got a little bit slap on the wrist. He lost sponsorships, but he was able to compete in time for the Olympics at that time. So the disparity is very prevalent and very present.
It definitely is.
You can see that, you can taste that, when it comes to our black people, especially when they're in the point of being prominent. Like Ward said, she was at a point where she was hurting.
Right.
And we might not agree. People might not agree on what her choice was to deal with the pain, but, everyone has their way of dealing and coping with pain.
Absolutely.
She is on a bigger stage than us. So should she have been held more accountable than Professor Kev? Some can argue and say so, because the anti-doping laws are plain and visible, and marijuana is one of the prohibited drugs to be used. Now, can it give you an edge? Can it give you an advantage and things like that? That's up for argument and debate, because there's some that say, yeah, it can. There's some that say no.
You
touched on that, man. I was reading something, man, where they said that some analysts, man, they were trying to say that she was using marijuana as a performance enhancement. Now, we all know, man, I mean, from today to back in the day, man,
we know enhancement about it.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. That's considered a stimulant, if I'm correct.
Well, no, it's not. No, it's not. It really helps to kind of stabilize you.
Right. But it's not an enhancement, though, as far as the performance.
So here's the argument that she was using it. And I'm not in agreement of it. I just want to say that. I'm not in agreement of it. But what they were saying is that it helps you in times of stress, especially in high level competition.
Right.
You know, i.e. Ben Simmons, who gets scared in the fourth quarter and can't take a shot.
It got to go back to Ben Simmons. Back to Ben Simmons.
Maybe if he took a tote of the weed, he would be
Yo, Greg Barr said enhance your appetite.
Greg Barr said, GB.
What's up, GB?
Enhance your appetite.
Hey, that's probably what GB used on that free throw line, man.
But you see what I'm saying? That's one argument that it does help with in the de-stress of high level competition. You got, you know, a lot of these athletes that suffer from mental health illness, and especially when they are in these high level competitions, you know, you look at Naomi Osaka, who wasn't able to really deal with that because of the mental health illness that she was dealing with. So for some people, they'll say she might need some medication to help stabilize the mood, you know, and some people say, well, I have marijuana that's available, medical marijuana that's available. I can get a medical marijuana card to help me.
My man live right down the
stress
street
and cope with it, you know, but until it becomes legal outside of the 18 states, and you know, in Oregon she had tested positive during the time that they had the pre-trials, but you know, until it passes in New Jersey and other states, it's still going to be something that we're going to have to, it's going to be a thorn in our side.
I got a question about this boycott thing real quick. Like this, like them saying they want to boycott, or they want to, like, do they want the athletes to boycott, or do it's like just boycott watching it? I mean,
so you know, Ward, when you hear different things, it's thrown out there. It wasn't strategic. It was just a thought.
Boycott Sal's.
Boycott Sal's. It was just a thought of boycott. Excuse me, the Olympics. You know, and I think it was more so of watching and viewing the Olympics, not the athletes that, like Kevin said, trained the entire life.
I agree with.
Not those athletes, but those that black people that's watching it. You know, I'll be honest with you. I was looking forward to the track and field and basketball and a lot of different things.
Even the gymnastics, first all black gymnastics.
Yeah, the gymnastics team. So, you know, good stuff to start off with, man. Great, you came out hot, man. Great energy.
Yes,
fellas. What's going on?
You want to hop on it? You want to deal with the mega church in Oklahoma?
Hey, right now though, Kevin, we was just briefly talking about something that's going on currently.
Yes.
And what did we say, Marlton?
Yes.
Marlton, yeah.
Yeah, right now
Mount Laurel,
Mount
Laurel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mount Laurel.
So Kevin, Kevin, what's going on as we speak, man? What's going on right now?
Yeah, so there's a viral video going on that has been going on throughout the internet. DL Hughley even had it up on his social media site of a white male harassing a black man at his home with very offensive and racist statements. I mean, even when the Mount Laurel Police Department showed up, they were called. He even went deeper in just spewing nigger to the individual. So it got heated. He came up to the man's steps in his face, telling them that this is common ground and he had the right to be on the sidewalk and things of that nature. And he hasn't only been harassing this black man who is who has a home there, but there's other neighbors that says that he's been constantly and consistently exhibiting this type of behavior. And it seems like nothing's been done, even though there's been complaints about this man. So now that it's going viral and it's on video, we've got a large protest outside his home. What's that? 3,800. I had the location of it. 3,800 block of Gramercy Way.
Somebody watching, give us that address.
Gramercy Way, Mount Laurel. This happened on Friday. The video has been circulating now, and now there's a huge protest out there. The one thing that was troubling for me, was that when the Mount Laurel Police Department showed up, it just emboldened the man to go even further in his racist rants. And the police officer that was there called him by his name and told him just to calm down. While it seemed like he was more not aggressive, but more the officer was more focused on the black man.
The black
the energy was more towards there than really silencing the racist and offensive comments from this white man. So the events are unfolding, so we're going to see what's happening. And again, there's a large protest out there as we speak, y'all.
Now, that one clip that you sent, KD, that was only 150 people. Now I can imagine it's probably surpassed that number now.
Yeah, I was just watching a live video on it, and it was dude had ordered pizza. They stole his pizza and was eating it. They actually have a recording that guy did, that somebody filmed had a recording of him saying how he was selling drugs out of his house and that he was in with the police. It was crazy. But like KD said, when the cop came up, I mean, that just emboldened him to be even more boisterous about it. But what really bothered me was the cop really didn't do anything to the white dude, saying like, yo, if you don't stop, I'm going to arrest you. Because y'all know, if it was a brother, that's what it would have been. They would have put a knee on his mouth. They would have been like, look, you got to go. I'm going to put you under arrest if you don't stop, if you don't leave.
Yo, I commend that young man for, I don't know if we want to call it patience, for his temperament.
Standing his ground.
Yeah. I don't know if
some of us would have lost our pension.
I know me. Yeah. I know me, and I just thought about that, man, and I was getting upset just watching it, and the personal space that that the white guy just continued to get into, concerning the young man. You got to back up at some point,
But the funny thing about it wasn't even directed at the young man; it was the people in the house. He was just there defending them.
Absolutely.
Right. And he, like you said, man, he was invading his personal space, man.
He was.
And for him to continue, man, to use that N-word, and he even called him monkeys, man.
Monkey,
everything.
Go back to Africa, he said.
Go back to Africa, and he said to the cop, man, like, yo, you want to go over there with that N, go ahead, do what you got to do. Calling him by the first name, man. At first, that led me to believe that he was in trouble previously with the cops, but now that I'm wondering, Ward, that video that you said you saw, him being in cahoots, I'm like,
Well, you should have seen, like, not only was, they played that video of him saying that he was in cahoots, but yet there was a police presence at his house protecting him. And towards the end of the video, like in the beginning of the video, there were like 2 cops. Towards the end, there was like 5 to 6 cops. Protecting his home.
I want the Department of Justice to come and start investigating the Mount Laurel Police Department to determine if there's some racial bias that's happening, because this charge is more than just harassment. This is a hate crime.
It ain't a hate crime yet, because they won't
no, I'm saying this is a hate crime.
You're saying it is. It is
a hate crime, and it's on video.
We can't get nothing passed like that to say that anything against the black man is a hate crime. So I mean, like they did with that Asian thing came about in what month?
We've
been dealing with this since 16.
But I do want to applaud Attorney General Garland, because he is investigating police departments such as Minneapolis for their long-standing history of discriminatory practices to the black community. This may be another one on the Attorney General's radar that he might want to take a look into, since it just seems very sus. I'll say that.
Get that out, Arlene. Keep them bodily fluids to yourself.
Keep them bodily.
INF, you got these white supremacists that's marching through Philly, recruiting people, so they're emboldened right now,
and they weren't even from the area.
They was from Texas, man.
They was from Texas, and they came up wearing all white hoods, looking like the KKK.
Because they are. They're not looking
that's what I'm saying.
They are called the white supremacist patriots,
right?
And they are here to recruit people to so-called reclaim the nation, right?
But big up to the people of Philly. Yet. Big up to the people of Philly that wasn't
that confronted them.
They was like, because I heard seen one cop was like, like these Philly people ain't like what they was saying, and they started beating on it. So they did pull their moving. It was a moving van. They had a rider truck, and they was packed up in a rider truck to come up here. Yeah. So they actually pulled them over. The cops did pull them over to make sure they didn't have any weapons or anything. Yeah. So.
But what gives them the audacity, though, man, just to come into Philly on the 4th of July?
Because
Trump's a statement, man.
Trump has emboldened all these fools to think that he is the Messiah, that this country is supposed to be white. It's not.
They saying, man, that
brother. He did. I ain't gonna say gave it. Well, he gave them a lot more confidence what they had.
Yeah, than what they are. Yeah. Shout out to I want to stop and give a shout out, man, to Rob Tufnell and Lonnie Tufnell, his wife, Greg Barr and Renee, for both couples celebrating their anniversary. I think sometime last week. So I definitely want to give them to a shout out, man. The GB and Renee and Rob and Lonnie, man.
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary, you guys! Happy anniversary! Appreciate you guys. If you can, those that's watching, thanks for joining us. Welcome. Those that's coming in, we got a great show for you guys tonight. We just had some good conversation about Sha'Carri Richardson. You know, what's going on right now in Mount Laurel. It's Mount Laurel, right? I keep tearing that one up.
Mount
Laurel.
I keep tearing that one up. Right now in Mount Laurel, the continued boldness from white supremacist groups, showing their face and trying to claim their country back is what they're saying. So if you can continue to like, subscribe, share this podcast. We got some great conversation. We got a good conversation coming up with my nephew Demir, who's coming up. I'm claiming he not even your son right now. That's my nephew, Katie. That's coming up when we talk about Gen Z. So Kevin, what you got about you got something coming up, man?
Oh yeah, man. The mega church in Oklahoma that is led by Pastor Michael Todd, I believe in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. He recently gave 107-year-old Viola Fletcher, 100-year-old Hughes Van Ellis, and 106-year-old Leslie Randall, the 3 remaining survivors of the Tulsa massacre, gave all 3 of them $200,000 in reparations from the church.
Nice.
He looked at the median price of a home in Tulsa, Oklahoma, because remember, you had these families, hundreds of Black people's families that was burned down to the ground. So he looked at the median price of a home in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and used that as a figure to establish a reparation package to all 3 remaining survivors. So his brand of reparation was his definition was to repair that which has been torn down or devastated, which these 3 individuals endured. So he said the action of reparations is repairing something that was devastated. So big ups to Transformation Church in Oklahoma, $200,000 to the 3 remaining survivors. I believe Greenwood also gave the survivors $100,000 each, while the federal government hasn't lifted a check at all to pay to these 3 remaining survivors, or really the community of Greenwood, to help establish a thriving Black community. If you look closely, I believe the people that are in Greenwood now are white.
Okay.
So says a lot about where we are.
Yeah. Dope.
Good stuff, KD.
So that's a good feel good story.
Feel good story.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We always got to put them feel good stories in.
Yes, sir.
Bill Cosby, man. Bill Cosby was released from prison last week. Yo, I was at work, man, and I saw a lot of
jokes.
Yeah, notifications, man, stuff popping up, and I'm like, yo, what's going on here? And Bill Cosby was being released from prison last week when the Pennsylvania Supreme Court vacated, I again say vacated, his sexual assault conviction on the grounds that his due process rights were violated. So after that, so much has again come up, in terms of conversation. Felicia Rashad, she tweeted finally a terrible wrong is being righted, a miscarriage of justice is corrected, as the Madam Felicia Rashad had said last week, and she was
got some backlash on that.
Yeah, it's got some backlash from your grad school, EV. She got some backlash from Howard University.
Yeah.
They expressed their disappointments at her remarks, and they stated that her initial tweet lacked sensitivity towards survivors of sexual assault. We the fellas, man, we in our chat, we definitely had some conversation about Bill Cosby and his sentence being vacated, which is not even proving him innocent. It's vacated. So there's a huge difference when it comes to the due process of this sentence. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, real quick, man. You brought up some good points, man. Quick shout out to HU. I spent a little bit of time there in grad school. Let me clarify that, just a little bit of time. But yo, the backlash, man, on Felicia Rashad, man, she had to go back and clean that up. You know that, man. She got some responses, man, from I guess some of the females, and it wasn't so nice. So she went back and tweeted again and said, "I fully support survivors of sexual assault coming forward. My post was in no way intended to be insensitive to their truth. Personally, I know from friends and family that such abuse has lifelong residual effects. My heartfelt wish is for healing." Now, Bill Cosby, I think he kind of lost some of his status of being the American dad that we all knew him as. He got off. But my whole thing is, Bill, listen, man, you got all that money, man. Are you really drugging these women, man? I mean, it was too many of them.
Well, when they asked for it,
yeah, but it was just too many of them, man.
When they asked for it, you got to remember the type of status Bill. I know I do, and I agree with Joe Brown. It's like you got to think about it. Look at the status that Bill Cosby had back in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. Women were falling all over him. They wanted to be with him. And at that time, it was the drugs that was payment back then. They didn't really care about the money because it was the drugs. They wanted to feel good. So they wanted the stuff. Bill was like, he had the money to buy it, so he bought it for him.
Yeah,
and then my thing is, and a lot of these women, come on, man, damn well you ain't going there to not do anything. You going in his room, you going in his hotel room, to do it's just like with Mike Tyson. You coming in my room at this time in the morning, you ain't coming here to have conversation.
Right. So basically,
you ain't gonna play trouble.
Hey, Ward, the way it sounds, man, it was kind of like a fair exchange.
It was
fair exchange, no robbery.
Right.
True. But then I think what bothers me is that these women try to come up, man, at a later date and time.
Exactly. It's like
try to say, hey, listen, he tried this. Now, to me, that's all about a payday right now.
It is. Because if it bothers you, you would have said something when it happened. Right. Not 20 years later, 30 years later. So, well, now with this Me Too movement, now I can get paid. Nah, man, there should be some type of limitation for people to come back and try and say you did something. Like, come on, man, and I'm not going to say limited to that a year, or 13 months, like most things, but it's like I understand there's some type of a pain you need to get over. You may have been affected, but you ain't been affected for 30 years to where you can't say, yo, this dude did me wrong.
Well, one of the things I wanted to point out too was that a lot of the allegations that Bill has against him was about 18 and 19-year-old girls at the time, still very young women. And in the 2005 deposition that Bill Cosby, he does have an admission of guilt when he was asked, when you got the Quaaludes, was it in your mind that you were going to use these Quaaludes for young women that you wanted to have sex with? He answered yes. When I hear this admission of guilt, even though he wasn't charged in a court of law, I think about my mother. I think about my sister. I think about young women that have been raped, and again, for you to, and Bill Cosby admitted that he did not use the Quaaludes to have sex with them, but the Quaaludes was provided so that he could take advantage of them. And this is admitted in a 2005 deposition. Now, this doesn't pertain to Andrea Constand, because one of the things that Prosecutor Castor indicated was that there wasn't enough evidence to charge him in that specific case, because her testimony had fluctuated from time to time. So there wasn't enough in there. So that's why he made that deal with Bill Cosby to testify in the civil case, forego his Fifth Amendment constitutional right, and make that admission of guilt so that he could, in the civil lawsuit, be found guilty and payment would be made. But again, if you read the deposition from 2005, he makes admissions over and over again that he gave women pills to have sex with. One of the other things that came up too that was interesting, during this time, a lot of educational trusts were set up for a lot of these young women that Bill had victimized. They didn't go to court, they didn't become publicized, but they were well known within that community. And a lot of these educational trusts were set up as pretty much hush money to these young women, so that they would not come out to talk about Bill's pattern of victimization. I know that we're all disappointed in Bill Cosby because he's one of us and he's like a family member, but I can't defend a man that uses medication or pills that were prescribed to him and given to 18 and 19-year-olds just to have sex with. It is the pattern of a rapist. It is the pattern of one that victimizes young women to take advantage of them. So, I'm as disappointed in him as well. He served his time in jail. It shouldn't even came to being in a court, charged in court, because of the deal that he had with the prosecutor's office. So people say it was a technicality. It wasn't. It was just a procedural overlook that the government, in Pennsylvania, that they were egregious. They made an egregious error in trying him and violating his constitutional right.
But what difference is it if you give him pills, money, some diamonds, some gold? What difference
money
does it
make? Money and valuables
it was what
does
they
not
wanted.
make a woman. I'm trying to answer you though. Money and valuables and jewels does not make a woman defenseless, nor does it make a woman give them the inability to give consent or not to have sex. It's the pills that do, and that's what Bill wanted to do in order to have sex.
I disagree because material goods can make somebody forget who the fuck they are.
Okay, medication and material goods are two different things.
Let me read these two comments. Gasper says he admitted to giving them.
Put it up on the screen. Put it up on the screen, Keith.
Good looking. He admitted to giving them pills, not sneaking them pills. Sharon also says, "What's up, Sharon? My opinion, the whole thing was over money. If she really wanted justice, she would have not waited all these years and then settled for money. Civil suit. She never really wanted justice. It was just for money."
Yep.
Thanks.
Because look at all the other ones that came for, and they even admitted it was just for money. Janice Dickinson, she had nothing to do with any of that, but it was all, she just needed to pay that because she wanted to be relevant again. Yeah. And then Beverly Johnson, she wanted to be relevant again. She needed money. Her mother was sick. So what better way to get some money? Something to lie on somebody, so for somebody to give you a free handout.
Yeah. Hey, I got another feel-good story. Give
it to me.
I got one. Actually, it's probably Ward's favorite artist, man, who I know Ward has him set up in his rotation in his truck or his car. On Saturday, Kodak Black was found giving back to the same community that raised him in the South Florida housing project. What you say?
Air conditions. He was giving out air conditions or something?
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Kodak Black was found giving back to the same community that raised him in South Florida housing projects. Kodak Black, a respected rapper by his peers, personally delivered around 100 air conditioning units to the Golden Acres project. Nice. Kodak said that people are relying on just enough cash to survive in the projects. He also remembers growing up in these very same projects. He added that he remembered when he had to take from people, and now that he's blessed enough, he can give back, and that's what he likes to do.
All right,
So,
for the record, no, I don't have any Kodak Black in my rotation.
Wow.
But big up for the brother for doing that. I
nah,
guess
Yes,
that's what's up.
that's some good shit.
How many
nice feel good story.
BTUs? How many
It was
BTUs?
over 100. How many BTUs? I don't know. Hey, you know what's funny?
KD, KD, you saying that, hey, he giving them out, but they ain't blowing cold air.
Hey, Katie, that's funny because that's our people. Our people will say, "Well, it was only 100. Why you gave out 200?" That's our people do that.
Yeah,
Man.
he gave out something,
Oh,
and that's more, and that's all
1,000
that counts.
BTUs. This ain't doing my living room nothing.
Oh man, what we got next, man?
Let's
What we
do it.
got going on next?
Let's talk
Anything?
about the college players, man.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Hey, what you got?
Yeah, man. So as you know, man, over the years, man, many years, man, the NCAA have rules, regulations, and policies in place that pretty much prohibited college players from receiving any type of I don't know, bribes, compensation, anything monetary, man. So last week, man, they suspended those rules. So
Okay.
so with that being said, they have several states that are enacting laws that will allow college players to make money.
Dope.
I think the real question to me is, how do you feel about that? And I'm good about that for about 2 or 3 reasons. For one, man, listen, this is me. This is
I know. That's your opinion.
This is my opinion.
That's
For
right.
one, you got these big time colleges and universities that are making millions,
billions.
Billions. I'm going to show you a quote later on that are making billions off of these athletes who are risking their lives at these university and colleges, are getting free publicity. And I'm talking about these Saturday games that we watch, March Madness that we watch. So men and women college athletes, man, to me, it's like, hey, why not give them a little bit of money for for playing? I mean, listen, the coaches, they're getting paid.
Exactly, they're getting paid millions.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So I think when you look at this, though, you got to look at it also in terms of legalizing recreational use of marijuana. If you're going to legalize these athletes making money, then you've got to decriminalize those people from the past, those athletes that did take money and had their records and Heisman trophies taken away from them. Are you going to reinstate and reinstitute and lift up those banners that's been taken down? Look at Reggie Bush.
He's trying to get his back. He's trying to get his back.
In 2005, his Heisman was taken from him. His records were taken from him because of a $10,000 payment. Family members were getting money. A house was given to them. You know what I'm saying? Are you going to give him his Heisman Trophy back? And are you going to give him his 2005 records back? What about the Fab Five and Chris Webber? All right, y'all remember that?
Oh,
the
yes,
banners, those 2 Final Four banners that were up in Michigan, and all of those records have been taken away because of Chris Webber. He accepted about $200,000 in 1993. So are you going to decriminalize? It's good that you're going to allow these people to make money and to get money off their image and their likeness, but you have to also repair some of the past things that have happened to these student athletes that came from the ghetto and had nothing. And when they were induced to that had nothing, and when they were induced by boosters or other agents with promises of money and houses, and you strip them of their hard-earned awards and titles, you've got to recompense and repair some of that damage. So I'm in favor of it, but you got to repair things like Reggie Bush and the Fab Five if you want to move forward with this thing feeling good.
See, this
I agree with you. Hey, KD, I agree with you. I agree with you, good brother, 100%. That needs to be repaired, and some of that stuff needs to be reinstated. But check this out, man. Now listen to this. The top 25 football coaches take home an average of $5.2 million a year, and the top 25 basketball coaches take in about $3.2 million. Some more and some less. Now, these are the coaches who are not even out there playing. If they can get some money, why not get the players a little bit?
See,
well, a lot of that money is
agree
going
with
to the
giving
strippers
money
that they're bringing on campus for the student athletes as well.
To entice the players to come there, right?
See, but I agree with giving them. I agree with compensating these players because they are the ones giving their blood, sweat, and tears for these colleges. Yeah. But you're opening up a can of worms for the simple fact of all these past things that happen. What now? Who do you pay and who do you don't pay? Because you're not going to give that third string dude any compensation. For being
the
on the
schools
team.
are not obligated to pay. What they're only obligated to do is make money off their image or likeness. They can brand themselves. So colleges are not paying them, but they can brand themselves now. They can earn money in other ways, but the college is not paying them. But again, you got to repair the wrongs.
But it's still but here's the thing. Like I said, can of worms. Now, if you're saying the colleges ain't doing it, they can brand themselves, then the colleges don't have to do anything to reinstate any type of records. They don't have to give a high.
They do. It's an NCAA rule now. It's an NCAA rule that they can do this. So the onus is on the NCAAs to repair the decriminalization of a lot of these athletes that have lost their awards in the past. It's an NCAA rule.
I'd also add I wonder if these top level high school ball players going to the G League and going overseas prompted the NCAA to really start looking at this. So a lot of these, we look at LaMelo Ball. The NCAA could have made millions off of this guy. Whatever school he went to, going into March Madness, and some of these other players. That's just that
he opted to go overseas, right?
Yeah, he opted to go overseas and play. And several other top notch 5-star recruits are going overseas and going to the G League. Some I forget this one young man's name, making $1 million in the G League. So I'm not sure if the NCAA is trying to get ahead of that. That's some good stuff.
Well, they just all want money for themselves, and that's the problem.
That's
the big can of worms because they're not going to make as much money as they would if they didn't allow the players to brand themselves.
Here's the last fact I want to mention. College collegiate programs collected $14 billion in total revenue in 2019, not including income from broadcasting rights and corporate sponsorships. Jeez. So if this is my thing, man, if these players are the ones that are allowing this income and revenue to come to the colleges and universities, it's about them.
They should get a bite of it. Yeah.
And then they keep raising the tuition for the kids to go there.
Right.
Yeah.
Based on popularity.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff, man. Good stuff, man. Appreciate that, Capital. Yes, What's up, man? What we got next? We got anything going on next? Derek Chauvin.
What's that? Derek Chauvin.
Not
22
enough.
Years.
Not enough.
22 years.
Not enough.
And a half.
22 years.
22 and a half years. Not enough.
They should have gave him 30.
They should have gave him the maximum, which was 40.
Okay, that's what I was about to ask. The maximum.
The maximum
the
he was facing was
for 30, and the judge didn't even give him 30. The minimum.
That's crazy.
That the prosecution was asking for.
Yeah.
So I think that they were, while it's a severe penalty, but he can apply
15
for
years parole
in 15 years.
Yep.
Yeah, he can apply for parole in 15. And still be able to have some type of life,
afterwards.
So afterwards.
And the funny thing about
this was lenient.
He could get out before A Hall. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You think about it. Because from what I remember, what he did, he got I'm not sure if it was just like the maximum, it was a 40 years or whatever. He got that. But now Chauvin,
there are people.
He just committed a crime. He just committed murder. And he's getting out before people that have been in for for even as long as his sentences
petty
was.
drug crimes.
For
There are
petty drug
people
crime,
still in jail for
Yeah,
25
yeah.
years or more for petty drug crime. There's an individual in jail right now, a white man who shot at officers with an AK-47. He's in jail for 739 years.
Jeez.
How much?
And Chauvin
739 years.
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah,
possibly
yeah.
see? And that's what I can't understand. How can you
739 years.
possibly get
Because
somebody that amount of time?
value of law enforcement and attacking or going after them, the penalty is much higher than for a black man.
It definitely
You know,
is.
that's the disparity, the glaring disparity in the criminal justice system. It's not made for us, it's not developed for us, it's not here to benefit us, but it's only here to penalize us because of the color of our skin. Even in death, we are penalized.
Right. Now, is that a mandatory 15 that you said he has to do 15?
Yes, he has to do 15 before.
So there's no way he can get out on good behavior. None of that. He got to do 15.
He's got to do 15 and then apply for parole,
which they're gonna give it to him.
Most definitely.
No, don't.
But like I say, put him in general pop and let
which
it go.
He isn't, and that's the other thing. They won't put him in general population too.
No, they won't.
Want to protect him.
He is definitely being protective custody.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks
stuff,
for everybody joining. Yeah, man, that's some good stuff. A lot of trending topics. You know, we'll keep you guys abreast, and when we come back, you know, on what's going on, finalizing some of these things, some of these trending topics that's currently going on. I want to thank everybody for joining us right now. Those that's staying in there and hanging in there with us, you know, waiting for us to get to this core conversation, which is coming up next. You know, but if you can go to our YouTube page, just our thoughts with the fellas, and check our content out. We have amazing content in there, some crazy dope informational conversations that we have on just our thoughts on YouTube. Go to JOT with the fellas on Instagram. You can also go to all our streaming services. Please, if you can, leave a comment, leave a rating with us, download, subscribe. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Anchor.fm. Check us out and tune in. We're also on TuneIn too. So check us out. When you're taking a ride to work, these rides on your vacations, listen, download, and have a conversation with us. All conversations are relevant. What's going on, fellas? We got my man, my nephew. Is he ready?
Yeah, he's ready. Yo!
Coming up next, we got part of our core conversation is the Gen Z. Gen Z, a few weeks ago, BET Awards had Little Nas X. What's up, the man?
What up, D?
Take that icon down for me.
Take that icon.
Yeah.
Hey man, what you got?
What's up, D? What's going on, nephew?
Wait a minute.
Oh, you can't hear.
Let's get him situated.
KD, you got your headphones in.
Yeah, he ain't gonna be able to hear you if you got your headphones in, brother. Oh man, so you know, a few weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago. Yes, we definitely can hear you.
What's up, nephew?
What's up, nephew?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. Good, man. Good. So a few weeks ago, BET Awards, they showcased their family award show on BET, and there was a lot of course, backlash, you know, on the Little Nas X performance. Nas X was a little extreme to what some say, over the top to what some say. He kissed a male, and I don't even think the kiss was an issue. It was just the overall, you know, thing. So as some of the fellas and I have been in conversation, you know, about our ways, you know, and things that, you know, we just simply don't know about, you know, we wonder, is that just too much? Is it over the top? You know, so we can certainly have our own views, but we wanted to bring in the great Damir in here. Katie, we can't hear you too good.
He's muted.
Yeah, he's muted. We wanted to bring Damir in to represent.
There we
Gen
go.
Z. There we go. We wanted to we wanted to bring Damir in to represent Gen Z, to give us, you know, some type of balance, you know, because we definitely can be opinionated with our thoughts, our views, our perspectives, you know, can be even set in our ways, you know. So yeah, I'm setting you up right now, Damir, as the expert right now for Gen Z. So you got, brother, you know, so we wanted to bring you in, man. But first I wanted to ask the guys, man, you know, their thoughts of that, of Little Nas, you know, and was that a little bit too much and over the top?
You muted, Ward.
You're awarded too, Muir.
Okay. I really don't watch any of these award shows for the simple fact of things like this. I can't get with these young kids and their attitude. And I'm not saying attitude as a bad thing, but their way of thinking, because it's very different from how we grew up. Mm-hmm. And if you want to say I live in a bubble, so be it. But I just feel as though the things that these kids are thinking, really, in my opinion, really aren't them, because the way society has groomed them, it's like they're telling them what to think and not telling them facts and letting them actually make decisions and think on their own. Mm-hmm. So it's like, they're telling them like, oh yeah, it's okay to accept this, and it's okay. You got to accept this and you got to accept that. No, you really don't. So like, and then just seeing that picture of Nas X being on an award show with two dudes and being sexual towards them, that's way too much for me. Okay. I can't deal with it. It's like I don't accept the lifestyle. I don't promote the lifestyle, but I'm not going to shun you just because that is your lifestyle. I get that, but I mean, to be on a public stage like that, nah, that's just way too much.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, A. What you got, A?
Yeah, man, I didn't get a chance to see the awards, man. I was away on vacation, man, in Ocean City, Maryland, as you know, my good brothers, having a good time with the family.
Yes, sir.
But you guys did send me the pic, and I did think that it was a little over the top, man. Like you said, man, that's just, something that we haven't grew up on. That wasn't our style and our lifestyle of living, man. So, it kind of caught me by surprise when y'all sent me that pic. I was like, yo, whoa, what happened? He said, take a look at it. But
I saw your response. I pictured your response too.
Yeah, man. But, times have changed, man. And, I was having a conversation, man, with wifey the other day, man. And she said that, it's just like the social media, man. It's kind of raising our children nowadays days, man, because they're growing up in a time, man, with just this electronics, man, and it's just Google and all these different social media outlets, man. So hey, man, that's my take on it. What you got, Keith?
I think when you think about that, that generation, that's part of their generation. When you think about the smartphones, them living with smartphones, that's what they do, and that's not what we've been accustomed to. When we see our kids, holding onto our smartphones at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, playing on the phone, communicating with somebody. We talked about it before. They're not, running to the mall all the time like we used to do when we were in high school, going down to Echelon Mall, going to Cherry Hill Mall. They're not doing that. They can order off of Amazon, so quick. So, yep. I often think that, they are different than the way we were raised, so, we wanted to bring Damir and KD in, just to get some thoughts, man.
We're here.
Yeah.
Well, before Damir jumps in, I just wanted to give my take on it. Then I let the youngin. But I do believe like this generation is very artistic, very creative.
I think so.
This generation doesn't know anything about the AOL dial-up that we had to do to get on the internet. They know nothing about payphones or anything like that. They don't know about the struggle. They have complete and total access at their fingertips to be creative, to be business minded, to be artistic, to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
I mean, you
absolutely.
see these influencers that's making millions of dollars on YouTube and
Yeah,
TikTok.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right. This is a generation that, if they want to build wealth, it's out there ready for them to
yeah,
access and
yeah.
to
I
tap
agree with you.
into right now.
Yeah,
Now, music has always been sexually suggestive. I think sometimes we pick and choose. Some of us don't agree with the homosexual lifestyle, but I think sometimes we pick and choose what we like and what we don't like. We'll let them rap about the drug culture, which has plagued the Black community. We'll let them objectify women with shaking their butts on stage, to i.e., to live crew. We'll pick and choose what we think is morally right and morally good, but we'll bash what we might be fearful of or what we don't understand. And I liken that to how people use the Bible sometimes to bring condemnation against the homosexual community. When the Bible condemns a lot of things that we are involved in on a day-to-day basis, but they like to use and point out certain scriptures for their advantage. And I think that's the same
absolutely,
thing
absolutely.
with this culture that we're living in. We pick and choose what we don't like or what we think is just an abomination. And again, there's some things that's so sexually suggestive. I don't want my 9-year-old to have access to, not at all. Would I want him to watch Nas X's performance? No. But would I want him to sit and watch Megan Thee Stallion also shaking that derriere on stage as well? No, because it's sexually suggestive. And you're getting the wrong message from both ends for a mind that's not yet fully developed to be able to grasp the what this generation and this culture is pouring out.
So
So
what
why
you
is
saying?
it, huh?
No, so I said so what we do is we pick and choose.
Exactly.
So I wanted to jump into real fast. Eric Coleman, he says they're being taught how to be followers and not leaders. I actually disagree with that. I think they're being individuals. I think that's the one thing that generation, and Kevin kind of alluded to that when talking about becoming millionaires, talking about being entrepreneurs. They're doing, like Arlene says, when this generation does everything that we were scared to do. I do see this generation, man, just taking a leap of faith, trusting, networking, doing things that we wouldn't do. So I wanted to tap into that part,
Well,
and
I
go back to
Let
Eric
the
disagree
Coleman.
little
with
man
that.
talk. Let the young man talk. Go
What's up,
ahead.
Mama Pat? Hey, Mama Pat.
Go
I
ahead,
think it
nephew.
got to do a
Go ahead,
lot with
nephew.
exposure. I don't think y'all generation was. I think it's always been there, but now that we have the internet, it's exposed more to our generation than it is yours. Is easy access to,
Mhm.
and I believe that is influencing people to. And then now it's being accepted too. Back then, it wasn't nearly as accepted as it is now.
Right,
And
right.
then if you don't accept it, you have the LGBTQ on you. If you sexist, you have the feminists on you.
Mhm.
If you against black people, you got Black Twitter on you. It's like this world is, if you don't accept it, you're bashed. So
Mm.
No,
you're
I,
so it.
That's a good
no,
point,
that's a
man.
good point. That's a good point, and I think that's because of social media. Everyone. I got a good friend, Obatila, and we talk about social media gives everyone an opinion. At their thumb, it gives so many an opinion. To soon as something happened, you're bashing it. You give your opinion, you're against it, and you give your opinion, and we don't give that opportunity to look at it in totality and what that whole view is and what those things look like. So
Well, the way I look at it is, okay, like in my opinion, today's children, all they ever think of is this is the way it always was. Like there was nothing else before that.
mhm,
Like KD said, they won't know our struggle. We didn't struggle. We came up in a good era. We knew that we looked to things that came before us, and then we accepted what's going on. But these kids now, they're entrepreneurs, but yet everything they're doing on the internet, they have to accept everything, or else now they're not relevant and they won't be making money. So now it just perpetuates all this acceptance to let everything flow because they want to be relevant so they can make money off of the internet.
I don't know.
It was a struggle though to get on the internet, Keith. I had to wait almost.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about.
Yo,
it wasn't a struggle. It wasn't a struggle because we never had that before.
On the internet, okay? These guys, boom, boom, bam, right now, and can make an entire movie.
Well, then you weren't listening to what I was saying, KD. You know, it wasn't a struggle for us. It wasn't a struggle for us because we were in the advancement of it.
Primitive.
So it wasn't a struggle. We were seeing technology evolve. These kids act like the technology they have was always there and was always about, and then that we just don't know how to use it, which is not true.
I think one of the things, and maybe Demir can talk to us about this. One of the things about this Gen Z generation is that they're I feel like they're much more tolerant of others. I feel like they're less judgmental, less and more accepting when it comes to others. Demir, what do you think when it comes to a lot of your peers?
Well, a lot of my peers, it's just if it's out there, if you don't agree, they just learn not to even talk about it. That's how it is. If you just don't agree, you keep it amongst yourself because you scared of the backlash.
Yeah. We live in a punitive time, though. You know, everything is punishment. That cancel culture, like he was saying, like if you don't, in some facets, if you don't go along with the trend, or if you don't go along with the lifestyle, there is that cancel culture that will seek to kind of dismantle what it is that you put together. So, you know, but a lot of, you know, like Damir was saying, like I think we were saying earlier, was that, you know, we live in a time though where there is a lot of acceptance of things that was done secretly during our time. You know, a lot of what we see today, and the Bible tells us, what does it tell us? There is nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new. There's no new inventions. There's no new lifestyle. There's no new culture. A lot of what we see and now has just come to light and has more exposure because of the speed and the innovation that we have now. But a lot of what we're seeing has been going on for a long time, but we just have not been privy to it. So, and that's one of the benefits that this generation has, is that they're able to impact a large amount of people quickly and in a way that will leave a very indelible imprint on people.
Yeah. Damir, if when and I know you're not speaking for all of your peers and all of the Gen Zers out there, what are some of the common themes when it comes to our generation when you guys see us that may not sit well with you in terms of our generation not accepting you, if that makes sense to you? So think about our generation.
You think we're really out of touch?
Yeah. No, well, not just out of touch, but
or how are we viewed?
How do you guys view us?
I guess we view y'all as, you know, like sticking with what we have, don't like change.
Okay.
I grew up on these values and I'm sticking to them no matter what. And I think this young generation growing up with how we're growing up now, we never had grew up with those values that y'all was brought up on. And, you know, it has a lot to do with the household that you grow up into. It's a lot of people that don't got the father figure in the house. A lot of people don't got the mother figure in the house. And it's just, you know, even parenting, it's a lot of people having kids at a young age, not really knowing how to parent, how to really make them grow up in a way where you're raised with those core values. So yeah, I think that plays a big part in it.
Okay. No, that's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Well,
so go ahead.
I just want to make one thing clear because I know a lot of people out here saying they like to use that word homophobia. You got to break it down. I'm not afraid. We're not afraid of homosexuality. It's not the fact that, I just don't like it. I don't accept it. Not mean I'm afraid of it. That's a misconception. Everybody likes to throw that word around. No, I'm not afraid of it. I just felt like I need to say that because I hear that a lot, and that term is thrown around a lot to people that always say that, no, I don't like homosexual, I don't want to deal with with that lifestyle or whatever. It's always saying we're afraid of it. And everybody's saying, just like Arlene said, we there was things that they do that we were afraid to do. I disagree with that. It was just we didn't choose to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I don't know. I look at them as, this new generation as free, not just freelancers, but they just go, and I think every generation has its thing, and when we talked about bringing Damir in, it was more so because like you said, we can be stuck in our ways. We've been having these ideas in our thoughts for over 40 something years, for us, and to be stuck because this worked for us. But when we look at Damir and, his view of us is going to be different. He sees the whole world different. We come from an era where you got to spend 10 minutes to dial a phone. And if you mess up, you got to start over again. You got to start over again.
The rotary. I was trying to think of that word, KD.
Yeah. Damir don't know nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? He may have seen it, because I know how his family is, but he may have seen it. But to be able to dial on that, so that's the era where we come from. So, so Damir, talk to us about, if you can, the view of, artists like Nas X, different artists that express themselves, in such a way that we may think is over the top. But what do you guys think with the Gen Z generation? What do you guys think when you see artists and, in that nature?
It's what's in style now. And, as what you said earlier, you got to go with what the trend is. If the trend, if that's what the trend is and that's what's in style, that's what's going to end up what's happening. And, a lot of artists are out here, they might not even be into homosexuality, but they might, do something to make it seem like they are, to get more views, to get more publicity, and ultimately make more money off of doing it.
Right. Good point.
So they got to be the little sheep in the whole thing. You got to follow suit. That's what I'm talking about. That to me, that's not creativity, because there's a lot of things these kids probably want to do but can't do because society dictates that they can't, and they have to be on the homosexuality thing to be relevant.
I wouldn't box it in as homosexuality in terms of creativity and artistic views. I don't want to put it in a box and be stuck on the homosexuality.
Right, because everything isn't homosexual.
Yeah, it's more to the artistic expression, and not just limited it to Nas X, but just the ways and the perspectives of when we talk about this Gen Z generation, and just stepping out, on what they think.
Well, that's because this whole
real quick, I got a quick question, Damir. We talked about the music, like when we were growing up, we liked what our parents liked, some of it. Like let's just say the Temptations or the Four Tops. We would listen to a little bit of that music every now and then. Earth, Wind and Fire. The Isley Brothers. Do you guys like any of the music, whether it's some slow music or some of the rap artists?
Michael Jackson. Listen, when Michael Jackson died.
Can we hear from
Damir? Michael Jackson died. This boy fell in love with the music, yo. But go ahead.
Go ahead, dumb man. So did you hear my question?
I think I might be in a different category because I'm more musically inclined than a lot of my peers are. Because I grew up playing a whole bunch of instruments, listening to a whole bunch of different types of music.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So me personally, I think I'll fall into the category of I like more millennial music than I do Gen Z music right now. But I also like Gen Z music also. So I like all music. Yeah. So but to touch on the subject from earlier, I think it got to do with I think Jay-Z once said this like a couple years ago. A lot of people are just playing a character in the music industry. That's not who they really are.
Like Ice Cube. But go ahead.
So that plays a big, and then the world is more tolerable. Things that people might have thought of doing it before, but they like, I can't. They would get the same idea now, and they would pursue it and do it because the world, it's hit or miss. Any publicity is good publicity. If it's good or bad, as long as your name is out there, it's a good thing.
Wow. Well said. Well said.
Yeah, I just think that this Generation Z, they've been duped from the beginning. They have not seen anything other than this from how can I say it? The industry, music and Hollywood and all that, putting these ideals in their head of what it is to be relevant and not let their own creative side shine. Like, just like when we were kids, we seen the people down in the sisters and talking about drugs and talking about, all the bad happenings on the street, to even seeing all the good stuff that they promoted, all the pro-black things that they said. We've seen a wide range of what has been going on. A lot of these kids, all they get to hear of is, selling the drugs and, the women shaking her ass and that's it.
Yeah, I agree. Our music, you don't really hear too much love songs and R&B, and it's really a bunch of the most popular genre of today is rap and hip hop, more so that even other genres are trying to copy what they see in the hip hop industry.
Yeah, it's like they're blurring lines. They're blurring lines of the genres. There's no definite genres like we had, like rock, rap, country. It's like everybody wants to blend and make their music all sound the same. And to me, that's not creativity.
And Generation X has a little bit of accountability for the music today, because if they are mimicking a lot of what they copying a lot of from, not just the millennial, but a lot of the music they're copying from Generation X. That's the music, because this Generation Z, is our children. Generation X. All right. Every generation is about 20 years. So this generation is our children. And you have to look at it like that. A lot of this is a product of us who were born between 1965 and the early 80s, that Generation X. So, this is a product of us. I was thinking when we were kind of singling out Nas X, I was thinking about Prince. And a lot of us love Prince's music, but Prince would be on stage in a thong with his
ass out. Yeah.
Okay, dancing in heels, half naked. He would dance sexually suggestive with the women. He would dance sexually suggestive with men. He went in this type of androgynous type of position where I'm either male or female. Okay. But nobody ever questioned the fact, nobody ever really came at him about homosexuality.
It was one dude doing it.
Nobody really say what?
It was only one dude doing it, not like the whole.
What do you mean? It was only one dude doing it?
All right, how many other people was doing exactly what Prince was doing?
Prince.
I don't know if that matters. I don't know.
See, but it's like there's so many.
But that's not my point. That's not my point. Like a lot of what we're seeing now, Little Nas X, he's really coming out as the dominant male artist, appealing not just to the hip hop community, but the LGBTQ community as well. Especially in this performance on BET, you know, to really let the world know who he is. I don't see another black male artist right now that has really stepped over that type of boundary. And I'm looking at Prince because during that time, he came in that same vein. Beautiful music, great musician. You can't discount what he did on Wax, but his performance was very questionable. You know, from the women's clothes to the women's boots, but there was nobody in the black community that would cancel him or criticize him about being a homosexual, you know? So like I said, there's nothing really new under the sun as far as with music or with these performances, because we've seen Little Nas X before in the past in the form of Prince. Not on the level of Prince, but in that same androgynous that's being, you know, permeated.
And that's because mainstream and the powers that be have made that possible. They silence the ones that really should be out there because they have a positive message that would really hurt their agenda and that would uplift ours. So I just feel as though this generation, they've been duped. They don't have a chance. Not to say you don't have a chance, D.
Yeah,
you have you and I'm going to say there are exceptions. There are exceptions. There are exceptions
out there with this.
There are exceptions to rules, and you know, and like I said on previous shows, there's nothing I can say bad about any of my homeboys' children, D included. You know what I mean? You're there. So it's just, I just feel as though it's the industry that has been grooming these kids for this. It's not like, we had all different stuff, and then KD saying that they're looking at, you know, the stuff that we did. Yeah, but they're looking at all the bad stuff we did. You know, they're only looking at that aspect. But they're not emulating Tribe Called Quest. I mean, they might be. There are few. There are some artists, but are they mainstream like Nas X?
I got some more questions for Damir. Y'all got some more.
Let's give Damir a question. Do you agree with that, Damir? You know, he's representing the Gen Z. Do you agree with the fact that your generation is emulating, which Ward brought up? Do you agree with that?
I think it got a lot to do with, you know, in the music or entertainment, you know, industry, you have to get your thoughts from somebody. You know, you have to have an inspiration. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think that, you know, some of the people at this generation might have had the inspiration of Prince. Some might have had the inspiration of, you know, Jay-Z. Some might have had an inspiration of all these different, you know, artists. So I think that, you know, this generation has took not only the bad, so to say, but also the good too.
Right. Now,
yo, Cat had a good thing up there because we didn't even talk about the whole political movement, and that's something too.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other. Yeah.
I just want to read what Kat says. I don't agree with Ward. Mainstream entertainment isn't what the whole generation is about. If you talk to the kids into politics and empowerment, and their depth is amazing. Impressive kids coming up. Fearless. Thanks, Kat.
Next time you put my name up there, it better be in capitals like you put amazing in capitals.
Or stupid. Oh, man. Hey, Damir, appreciate you, my good brother. Appreciate you. Love you, man.
Appreciate you, nephew.
Nothing but good things, man, from us to you, man. Right. We here. All right. Good looking, Damir. Hey,
wait a minute. Listen, yo, put the trash out, man.
hey, Damir, now we're gonna turn over to your dad. We great going to ask the professor, man.
Oh man.
We going to ask the professor, or where we going?
We're going to man laws.
It don't matter. Let's go to let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny.
All right, fellas. Man law. Got
Man
man
law.
number 29. Title, not out in public.
Mm,
And
mm.
not wear clogs out in public. And for comfort in your home. If seen by me, you will be clowned.
What's the definition of clogs? Those scrub shoes?
Not
The
clogs, Crocs. I meant, but
What is
Crocs.
that?
Crocs.
What
Them
is that?
Crocs. Them
Hey,
rubber. Yeah, them things right there. If I ever see you out in public with them, you will be clowned.
hey Ward,
I was
yo,
at Target. I was at Target in these
You
today.
lucky to see you.
You ain't beating me in these because you can't even catch me in these.
You
hey
don't
Ward,
I
know.
will outrun you. I will outjuke you. I'm Floyd Mayweather in these.
I
hey,
don't know that.
hey Ward, me,
Oh man,
Camilla,
y'all
and
crazy,
Janai,
man.
yo, we Camilla and Janai went to uh Gloucester County, the outlets, man, a couple weeks ago, and there was a Croc store in there. Bro, when
Yes,
I
Yeah.
went in that Croc store, I'm sitting there
EB.
looking around like, yo, you got to be kidding me. I didn't know that, they made that many. Now, here they comfortable. I do hear they comfortable. I
They
saw
be sporting them.
yeah, they do sport them. And I saw a
Be
guy in
sporting them.
there. He had some swim ones. Katie, was that a Black Panther on there, Katie?
Yeah.
That shit is not suitable for public wear.
Yes, it is.
Have some
'Cause
decency about
I wear it
yourself.
in public.
Oh
I wear it
man.
in public.
Hey Ward, before we move on, man law number 29, one more time, Warheem.
Man shall not wear Crocs out in public. They are slippers and are for the comfort of your home.
I got these on Father's Day.
If seen by me, you will be clowned.
You will be clown.
You will be
Warheem,
clowned.
man law number 29. Hey fellas, we're gonna go to Ask the Professor.
Oh,
Let's get it.
Ask the professor. The professor.
Ask the Professor.
all
Go ahead,
right.
Katie.
All right. You got the questions. I need you to toss them at me.
Yeah,
No?
but you got to introduce your segment, brother.
Hey, this is Kevin Kev, the professor. This is Ask the Professor. This is rapid fire round. We're going to do some drive-by, shoot 'em up. A few questions real fast. Quick questions, quick answers, rapid fire round. My man
So-
K Hall's got some questions for me.
So
Let's
the
go.
questions that they sent us, you want me to just be clear? I'm reading them and everyone is answering. How does this go? I want to be in order.
No, I'm just gonna do rapid fire round. If the brothers want to chime in, y'all chime in. I'm not gonna muzzle the ox.
He's stupid.
That's biblical. I'm sorry, y'all.
Oh man, I'm with you. Ask
Come
the
on.
Professor. Question number 1. Why
Yeah.
do some people hate to be alone?
Mm.
They have to be with you 24/7. Why do some people hate to be alone? They have to be with you 24/7.
Wow. So, number one, can't nobody be with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's just totally impossible. And then to assume that somebody doesn't want to be alone, I think when you say that, they don't want to be alone, it's almost like making them out to be some type of sick individual that they just can't be by themselves. So
Right.
before we assume that, don't make an ASS of yourself,
Mhm.
So let's deal with that 24/7 and alone. But I think when we talk about somebody that doesn't want to be without companionship, there might be some abandonment issues that an individual is dealing with, some
Right.
fears or some worries that's connected to not having the companionship that they desire. I think that you also got to consider that they might have had some unhealthy attachment in the past with a significant other or in their childhood, so, and also they might also have some issues with what's called emotional permanence, where they still have feelings for somebody who has left them. All right. So all of these things we got to take into consideration before we pass judgment on someone that might be dealing with a lot of issues of feeling forsaken, unaccepted, or even abandoned. So before you move on and move forward, just to thinking that this person has an issue, I think both people need to consider this. The one person needs to really deal with the fact of, do I feel suffocated, or do I have an issue with being together on a consistent basis? Maybe that's an issue for you that's asking the question. Maybe you have issues about together time. All right. So the two of you need to explore and discuss your issues around togetherness, and also their issues around not having the time that I need with the significant other.
Yeah, Katie, when I saw the question, the first thing I thought of, I didn't think of relationship. I thought of individual. I thought individual, wanting to be around someone uncomfortable with themselves. That's the first thing I thought of. An individual uncomfortable just being,
Yeah.
and finding, comfort with themselves. So,
Right. Yeah.
I think when an individual is in that state, is in that mindset of being uncomfortable and not wanting to be with themselves, I think there's some things that certainly they need to
Yeah.
acknowledge and work
Yeah.
on,
That's
so
right.
you can be, begin to be comfortable with who you are, and then to your answer, then be able to build in other relationships. So that's my quick rapid fire
Man, I
answer.
thought it was rapid fire. You guys got 100-shot drum and shit.
Hey, let's go
Okay.
to the next one. How do I overcome persistent self-esteem issues?
Self-esteem. That's a big one with a lot of people.
Anybody?
Huh? You.
Go ahead.
I think
okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think that's something that individuals have to work on internally to build on your self-esteem. I think that you have to take a look at your strengths more so than your weaknesses, and recognizing, hey, I'm powerful in this particular area, and to let that overshine in some of the areas where you may need some more support in. That's my thought.
Yeah, yeah. And I agree with that 100%, E. And also I think self-esteem is another thing that comes from our childhood. You know what I'm saying? When we don't feel like our physical or emotional needs are met, the message that we receive is that we don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Our needs don't matter, either physical or emotional. So then the message about who we are as a core is now just really messed up because of these negative messages that we have received. So we got to really learn to, we got to start to unlearn certain messages and things that we received in our childhood, so that we can start to rewrite the narrative about who we are, because a lot of this stuff really just relates to the childhood trauma that many people have gone through. So when your needs aren't being met, it's a message that indicates that you don't matter, you don't mean anything. So now as an adult, in order to get healthy, there's messages about yourself that you have to rewrite, you have to correct, so that you can be healthy, not just with yourself, but with someone else.
Good stuff. Let's move on. Do you think it's important to disclose?
Fire.
Do you think it's important to disclose all of your trauma to your partner?
All your trauma, right? Disclose all your trauma to a partner.
Yeah. Does it? Do you think it's important? Rapid fire.
So, I think disclosure is yours for that person that has some trauma or some issues in their past, either current or it's in your history. I think that disclosure is yours. You shouldn't feel obligated to disclose anything in your past or in your present, just to receive something in exchange. A lot of people feel like in order to make someone happy, or for someone to show me some happiness, or to show me some compassion, that I've got to be able to disclose my past hurts. And that's not the thing. A person should accept who you are and what time that you want to start revealing some of the hurts and things from your past. But if the situation in the relationship starts to go further and go deeper, there still should come a point in time where you are able to feel comfortable and trusting of that individual to share some of your story. Don't give a person everything all at once. Take your time, do it when you're ready, and do it with the individual, the person that you feel trusting, that you can trust, and that you are comfortable with in sharing your trauma, because trauma can invoke some really painful memories that can not only scare other people away, chase other people away, but it also can set you back in your growth as well.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. I would say
Go ahead.
That real fast. I'm gonna say it's important to communicate, if intentionally communicate, if you want to build a successful and healthy relationship. That's my answer. It's important to communicate. Last one, starting to date again, and how do I slow down and not project past hurt experiences?
Oh my goodness.
Starting to date again, and how do I slow down and not project past hurt and experiences? Rapid fire, EB.
I think that for every new relationship, I think that you have to come into that relationship fresh. I don't think that you should bring in the old baggage from your previous relationship, because you're not going to be giving that new person that you're dating, that respect, or you're not going to be giving them a chance, because here you are, you're bringing that baggage into this relationship.
Right.
How can you come in with a clean slate when you got past memories and past hurt, and you have bad behaviors, from that relationship, and that may have been some of the reasons why that previous relationship ended. So if you bring that back into the swing of things, you may do yourself a disservice. So my whole thing is, come into the new relationship clean.
Right. EB, I agree 100% with you. But let me just give you the flip side of it.
Okay.
Sometimes it's okay to look out of the lens of your past experiences, because it brings about some awareness that you have of other people, of yourself as well. We don't bring our past experiences to say that this person is going to be identical to it, but there are lessons learned from past relationships, past experiences, past hurts. And while we don't assume that the new individual will walk directly in those footsteps, looking at our current relationships out of the the lens of our past experiences, our learned lessons can kind of help us be better in the relationship with one another, not just for myself, but to be able to do and give of myself in a way that I wasn't able to do in past. So, when we talk about projecting past experiences on people, not only do I need to be more aware about people that I'm in a relationship with, but I need to have more awareness of how I interact with people, new people in new relationships as well, because they're all learned lessons. Every hurt, every painful situation, and every good experience you've had in relationships are lessons to build on for new, longer lasting and healthy relationships.
I agree with that point.
Go ahead.
I agree with that point. They call those in education lessons learned. The lessons learned. Okay.
Lessons learned, brother. And we all got some learned lessons in our life, man. So that's all we got.
That's it. I do got one. I do have one more, man, that I wanted to ask. It was actually in our inbox, and I was kind of. I think y'all think we got time to ask this one. I was trying to. I was just trying to find it. Rapid fire. I don't know if this is rapid fire, but we could go at it. What's going on, fellas? You guys know me, so please don't say my name. Okay. I've been in a good relationship for over 3 years with my man, and I wanted to ask a question. A guy friend gave me a bracelet, a $300 bracelet that I always wanted. He and I are good friends. Should I tell my boyfriend?
Wow.
If you want trouble, yeah.
Yeah. How much do you value the relationship?
You know what I mean?
In order to
I would have,
disclose.
I would say give it back to dude and let your man know that that's what you really want.
Arlene's
That's
crazy.
good stuff. That's good
Yeah.
stuff, Ward.
Yeah, how much do you value the relationship that you want to share these things, that might bring up or rile up or stir up anger in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? So
And I
it's
agree with
really
E. Coleman. She should have never taken it.
how much do you have invested in it and share, because sometimes you do got to think whether or not me taking and accepting gifts from someone, how that will affect my mate. And you got to also empathize. How would you feel if your man, took a lunch date or got a new Nike hat or some sneaks from someone else? How would you feel about that? So you really got to think first before you receive, because then the other person that's giving is going to make you feel obligated now that they own you in a certain way. When you take gifts from certain people,
he been watching that episode of Martin.
They start to feel like you've opened the door to allow me to enter into a place that's only for that significant person.
Yeah.
Wow, that's deep right there, man. Taking that break.
I definitely agree with E. Coleman too. Yeah, she probably hiding that thing. I definitely agree with E. Coleman. He said something right.
Because the first thing out her mouth, if dude accepted a gift from a girl, you fucking her, that, nah, we ain't playing those games. Just don't accept it in the first place.
Yeah, don't even accept it. Yeah, shouldn't even be in a position where he could think he could give that bracelet.
Right. Because he expected something.
Yeah. That bracelet is going to keep that line of communication open between the two of you about your current relationship.
Goes back to what I said, giving up valuable things may change minds.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Fellas, man, another amazing, man, another good show, man, that we had, man. Appreciate everybody that joined us. Donnie, Big Bro says, come on, guys, y'all know it's already happening. When it comes to that relationship. But thanks everybody for joining us. If you can go to our Just Our Thoughts page, fan page, our YouTube page, check our content out, check our podcasts out on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and all streaming services. We appreciate you guys. Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Arlene. Thanks, Rob. Everybody joining out and hanging out with us, man. We had another great show, and we'll be back in 2 more weeks. This is Just Our Thoughts with the fellas. Peace.